Okay, well, rotator cuff is a pretty significant problem, pretty common problem that can lead to a lot of pain and a lot of disability. Nearly 2 million Americans seek out their doctor, dealing with rotator cuff issues. So what we want to do is talk about that today. So not only is when you have a rotator cuff, it can impact you if you really use your arms during your work, but even just day-to-day activities, brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, putting your clothes on can be impacted by a rotator cuff tear. So we're going to talk about prevention and self-care so that we can reduce the chances of this.
Yeah. So hi, this is Brian and Christina from Your HealthySteps, and we're the creators of the Ultimate Foam Roller Blueprint, and we teach purposeful foam rolling and self-care skills so you could be pain-free and active.
Absolutely.
So this is for educational purposes only. We are giving you 15 years of experience as neuromuscular massage therapists. So before we show you self-care, we need to give you some information first, like where are those rotator cuff muscles and what causes them to tear? And then we'll show you some self-care.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so what are the causes of rotator cuff tear? So there's several. There's age, there's repetitive use, there's trauma, and then there's things like bone spurs. But we're going to talk about something that we feel, because we can give you the control over that. So, a lot of people feel, or there's a lot of people out there that say, hey, as we age, things just get weaker, and it just makes us more prone to injuries, right? And it's just sort of that people say, hey, it's just part of the natural aging process. And we don't really typically believe in that, because we know that as we get older, we get tighter and tighter and tighter. And as we get tighter, that tightness in the muscle puts a lot of strain on the tendons, which is what is attaching the muscle to the bone. So the tighter you are, the tighter those tendons are going to be. It means they're not going to be moving as well. Also, we know that as we get older, our posture tends to fall apart. So we tend to have more of that rounded shoulder, and that does a big impact on these muscles. So again, if you add 40 plus years of tight muscles, which are straining on those tendons, and poor posture, which is pulling them out of proper position, that's a whole lot of wear and tear on those tendons, and things are going to start happening. There are actually several studies out there that say that about 40% of people over the age of 60 already have tears in the tendons of the rotator cuff. So if you already have tears in there, they've been developing over time, probably long before we got old, right? And then what typically happens is we do something crazy, like we move really fast, like a dog pulls us in a direction, or we reach behind like the back seat of the car to grab something, or we try to lift something heavy, or all of the above, and we tear something. And it's then that tear becomes significant. We have to seek out medical help, because it's going to take you right out of action. So what are the rotator cuff muscles? Well, the rotator cuff muscles are really 4 muscles, and they go by the acronym SITS, S-I-T-S. And we're going to show you where they are right here. Christina's going to be demonstrating on her, so we want you to follow along. We want you to feel this on your body so you understand where these muscles are at. So again, there's 4 muscles. SITS, S-I-T-S. We start with the first S, and that's a muscle called supraspinatus. And that's right where Christina's fingers are, right there. So reach up, pull on there, and you're going to be putting your fingers right on that muscle. It basically runs from the inside of our body here to the outside top portion of our upper arm. And what does this muscle do? It actually takes our arm up just like that, okay? The next muscle is the I, and that is infraspinatus, and it occupies the whole bottom part of the bottom of your shoulder blade. And then it comes out here and attaches on the outside back part of your upper arm. And I'm going to talk about this other one because they do the same thing. This little guy down here is the T in SITS, and it's teres minor. And I'm not sure if you can see it too well, but there's a little muscle right here, comes off the edge of your shoulder blade and attaches on the back part of the upper arm. And these 2 muscles, the infraspinatus and the teres, basically take your arm and move it outward, just like that. Pulls the arm back.
And to find your teres, you just take your hand and with your fingers touch your shoulder blade and then slide them off until they fall off your shoulder blade. You're right on the edge, and if you press in there with your fingertips, it probably is going to be a little tender.
It'll be tender.
Yes, that's your teres.
That's your teres, okay? So that's teres minor. Now the last muscle with the S and SITS is the subscapularis. And this muscle is very difficult to want to show you where it is and actually touch yourself. But if I took Mr. Manning and I took his shoulder blade and I pulled it back like this and showed you the front part of his shoulder blade, that is where subscapularis is at. So it's a very difficult muscle to get to, but it actually comes over and attaches to the front part of the upper arm, right there. And that muscle actually takes our arm and pulls it inward, okay? The term cuff comes from the fact that these tendons kind of form a cuff around the top part of the upper arm. So that is your the location and the action of the rotator cuff muscles.
You got it. Okay, so prevention. What are we going to do to help keep these muscles healthy? Well, we believe that the healthier the muscle is, right? They're not so tight, they're more flexible, the better they're going to work, and the less chance you have of having this chronic tightness and less chance of a wear and tear or injury at some point. And the joints are going to be healthier too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the way we're going to foam roll or do some self-care on these muscles is there's quite a few. So first one is our foam ball. And that is perfect for the top muscle over here.
Takes a little work, but you can do it.
Right. Against a wall. You're going to be working against a wall. Now for this large muscle here, foam ball, again, is the way to go against a wall.
Can be a little tender here.
Yes. And then for this little guy, in the beginning, you're probably going to want to use a foam roller, which I have one right here for you, foam roller. And as this muscle, because it's usually very, very tight and tender. So this is the best way to start, and then go to your foam ball as it reduces in tightness. The fourth muscle we can't get to. We can't foam roll that.
You can get a therapist to get in there, but it's difficult to do it yourself.
Right, right. So we teach you how to foam roll all of these muscles in the Ultimate Foam Roller Blueprint. And really, in just 20 minutes of it a day, you can get a lot of muscles, not just the rotator cuff muscles. And so you're going to be keeping those muscles healthy and flexible, pain-free, and reducing the chance of injury.
And the thing to remember here is that this is just the rotator cuff muscle, but posturally we need to do more.
That's right.
So we need to involve those muscles in the front of the body, below the joint, all around this joint. So it's not just the rotator cuff. You can't just do these muscles and think that's going to solve the problem. It's the whole system needs to be healthy so that we don't have a strain on this joint.
You got it.
On those tendons,
Yes, I forgot about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, so if you'd like to hear more about why your muscles are getting so tight as you get older and all the things that you can do about it, we invite you to join us for a free class that we're holding in October. It's free, it's Facebook Live, so you can join anytime it works for you. So just click on the link and then you can register and then you can join our free class and learn how to take preventative measures and keep your muscles healthy.
And put it in your hands. You can take control. That's what we love.
Okay, thanks so much. We'll see you later. Okay, bye-bye.